Tasyan antam puram srimat architam sarvadishnapai harir swa kaushalang jatra tvastra karsnena darshitam tasyan antam puram srimat architam sarvadishnapai harir swa kaushalang jatra tvastra karsnena darshitam Tasyan antam puram srimat architam sarvadishnapai harir swa kaushalang jatra tvastra karsnena darshitam. Please chant. Tasyam panta puram srimat architam sarvadishnapai hare swa kaushalang jatra tvastra karsnena darshitam. Tashyan antam puram srimat architam sarvadishnapai harir swa kaushalang jatra tvastra karshnyena darshitam. Tasyam, in that Dwarka, Antapuram, the private royal prison, Srimat, opulent, Architam, worshipped, Sarva, all, Dishnya, of the various planetary systems, by the maintainers, Harehe, of Lord Hari, Swa, his own, Kaushalam, expertise, Yatra, where, Twastra, by Twasta, Vishwakarma, the architect of heaven, Karsnyena, completely, Darshitam, shown, Tatra Shada Shabi Shatma, Sahasrai Samalankritam, Viveshaika Tomam Saure, Patninam Bhavanam Mahat. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the city of Dwarka was a beautiful private quarter worshipped by the planetary rulers. This district, where the demigod Vishwakarma has shown all his divine skills, was the residential area of Lord Hari, and thus it was gorgeously decorated by the 16,000 palaces of Lord Krishna's queens. Narada Muni entered one of these immense palaces. Text number 9 to 12. And then I'm going to read just the translation. Supporting the palace were coral pillars decoratively inlaid with Vaidurya gems. Sapphires bedeck the walls, and the floors glow with perpetual brilliance. In that palace, Twasta has arranged canopies with hanging strands of pearls. There were also seats and beds fashioned of ivory and precious jewels. In attendance were many well-dressed maidservants bearing lockets of on their necks, and also armor-clad guards with turbans, fine uniforms, and jewel earrings. The glow of numerous jewels stood lamps dispel all darkness in the palace. My dear king, on the ornate ridges of the roof danced loudly crying peacocks, who saw the fragrant aguro incense escaping through the holes of the lattice windows and mistook it for a cloud. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, quote, there was so much incense and fragrant gum burning that the scents fumes were coming out of the windows. The peacocks became illusioned by the fumes, mistaking them for clouds, and began dancing jubilantly. There were many maidservants, all of whom were decorated with gold necklaces, bangles, and beautiful saris. There were also many male servants who were nicely decorated in cloaks and turbans and jewel earrings. Beautiful as they were, the servants were all engaged in different household duties. Sorry? I read it. Yeah, I did. It says, oh, I did not read it. Why I did not read it? Okay, sorry. There was the purport of the previous verse, verse number 7 to 8. Srila Jiva Goswami points out that Twasta, Vishwakarma, manifested the expertise of the Supreme Lord, and thus he was able to build such exquisite palaces. Srila Prabhupada writes, quote, the great kings and princes of the world used to visit these palaces just to worship Lord Krishna. The architectural plans were made personally by Vishwakarma, the engineer of the demigods, and in the construction of the palace, he exhibited all his talents and ingenuity. Om Gyaranti Verandasya Gyananjana Sarakaya Taksur Umilitan Jena Tasmai Sri Guru Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Rama Swami Iti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Satarine. Vancha Kalpatarubhyasha Kripa Sindhu Vyacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Srila Jiva Goswami comments on the verses 9 to 12. Taking one palace, the main elements are described. Ahata Twisha means that the palace never got dirty. It was always brilliant. The main furnishings are described. Vishwakarma produced the couches and seats. The attendants are then described. There were female servants and young boys dressed in fine lower and upper cloth, subastra. The beauty above is described. The lamps were situated in the room. From this, it is understood that Narada had arrived at night. Though he saw activities of different parts of the day, he actually went simultaneously to each palace to examine the Lord's activities. When he saw the Lord sitting on the couch, it was evening. The peacocks could see the aguru incense smoke, though it was night, because of the presence of jewel lamps. The palace and the other queens, the palace of the other queens were similar. So um, the beautiful architecture and construction of the area in Duarca in which the Lord has his palaces. So it was a particular area in which 16,000 palaces were constructed. And that was the area where Krishna resided. Simultaneously with his 16,108 queens. So it was like almost like a neighborhood within the city that was for the king. And sometimes you have similar arrangements in places where there is a royalty, like um, when you go to UK, then you see, the arrangement of the Buckingham Palace and all that. There's throughout that whole area, there's all kinds of buildings that are used for royalty. Or we go to the Washington D.C. area, and in Capitol Hill, then you see all these government buildings, including the White House. So now that's puny in comparison to what is described here. 16,000 palaces in an area arranged so beautifully. And just the description of one of those palaces, it is explained that the palace that is described here is the main palace, which was the palace of Rukmini, the biggest one of all. And it's inconceivable the opulence of such palaces, as is described, uh, with jewels and all precious jewels and minerals and pearls and all this type of things. Now, the personality that is described here as the architect and engineer who build these beautiful places is Vishwakarma. Um, Vishwakarma, his name is Tattva, as is described here, Tattva. Now, Vishwakarma is the architect of the demigods, famous throughout the whole Vedic history, and also spans throughout different um, um, ages. Because we hear about Vishwakarma not only building the city of Dwarka in Dwarpa Yuga, but also he has built so many other places throughout, from Satya Yuga, Tetra Yuga, and now in Dwarpa Yuga. In the Bhagavatam, it is described that Vishwakarma was the son of he was the son of one of the 8 Vasus, a Vasu whose name was Vastu. So this is in the 6th canto, 6th chapter, that is described like this. From Angirasi, the wife of the Vasu, named Vastu, was born the great architect, Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma became the husband of Akriti, from whom the Manu named Chakshusha was born. So Chakshusha Manu, who became one of the Manus, in general, within one cycle of yugas, there are 40 Manus. And then one of these Manus was Chakshusha Manu. previous man, with that now we have Vivaswan is one of the manus, and like that. Not Vivaswan, I'm sorry. Um, what was the name? Oh, I got a blank. But so very important personality, Vishwakarma, and were known. The sons of Manu were known as the Vishwadevas and Sandhyas. So it describe a little bit of the lineage. The eight Vasus is also explained. They were directly manifested from Lord Narayan. So here say the sons of Sankalpa, same. This is on that sixth chapter of the sixth canto. The sons of Sankalpa was known as Sankalpa, and from him Los was born. The sons of Vasu were known as the eight Vasus. Just hear the names: Drona, Prana, Dhruva, Arka, Agni, Dosha, Vashtu, and Vivavashu. From, now, then he goes, the sons of each one of these Vasus. There's another quote that describes, see if I find it. This is quoting from one of the Vedic scriptures. This is the Vedas declare, quote, the demigod of the moon, Chandra, came from the mind of Narayan, and the sun god came from the eyes. The controlling deities of hearing and the live air came from Narayan, and the controlling deity of fire generated from his mouth. Prajapati, Lord Brahma, came from Narayan. Indra came from Narayan, and the eight Vasus, the 11 expansions of Lord Shiva, and the 12 Adityas also came from Narayan. So, this is in the beginning of the creation, and it's explained the Lord as the source of all. Now, we hear how this all these personalities manifest, but originally they're just expansions in terms of is part of the Lord manifesting this or populating the universe. And in the beginning is all these very responsible personalities, demigods, who were to manage the whole universal affair. So Vishwakarma has um, a very important role in the whole universal affair. Vishwakarma is known as the architect of the demigods. And not only the architect, but he also was the supreme craftsman in terms of craft, in terms of also design. So it's not only the building of building. It's not only buildings and palaces and towns and gardens, but also he designed chariots. It is explained that he designed weapons. Anything that have to be designed, we see here that he part of the architecture were also designing furnitures, We hear that, when you go and visit the architecture, the places that were built by um, what is this, Lloyd? What's the name of the architecture here in Chicago? Frank Lloyd. Frank Lloyd. When you enter the houses that he built, his house, it goes along with furniture too. The furniture, the lamps, everything was designed by him. It's not just a building, but everything was very harmonious. So Vishwakarma was a master, was basically empowered by the creative Shakti of the Lord, Supreme Lord. And his work throughout the Vedic history is just incredible. And I'll give you an example of a list of things that he built throughout, that is explained in the scriptures. So it is explained that this Alakapuri, we hear about this city during the pastimes of Krishna, um, visiting um, the realms of the demigods. And this Alakapuri, when Kubera went to Vishwakarma for a residence after became the god of wealth, Vishwakarma created the splendid city of Alakapuri in Mount Mandara. So on the top of the mountain, there's this splendid city that is described in one of the chapters. I can't remember which one, but So that is the city of the god, the demigod Kubera. Chaitaratha. These are the most beautiful gardens in the universe. They were created by Vishwakarma for Kubera. Vishwakarma building near Alakapuri. Of course, since at Kubera, because he have a lot of money, he was able to afford, I'm saying. But um, beautiful gardens. These gardens also, uh, some of the gardens of Kubera were approached by Bhima. Remember the pastimes of Bhima entering these beautiful gardens and trying to find lotuses to bring to Draupadi. And then he got into trouble there, but at the end, it was all okay. Indra's palace was also built by Vishwakarma. After Indra became the king of the Devas, he requested Vishwakarma to make a really amazing colossal palace. After Indra killed Vitra, Indra had Vishwakarma redo the palace and make it more grand, multi, multi, multitude, multitude in, it's a word I've never heard, multitudinous. So anyway, he built the palace of Indra. Here's one also, Lankapuri. The city of Lanka was built by Vishwakarma. City of gold. This city, entirely of gold, was originally created by Vishwakarma. After some time, the Rakshasa Sumali and his brothers seized the city from Vishwakarma. After the Rakshasas run away because of Vishnu, Kubera took control of the city. Here's Kubera again. Later, Ravana banished Kubera and started ruling. After Ravana's death, in the Ramayana, Vibhishan, his righteous brother, ruled for a very long time. And then he also built Dwarka, as we hear here. When Jarasandha kept attacking the Yadavas in Mathura, Krishna and the Yadavas moved to the island near Saurashtra. There, Krishna invoked Vishwakarma to build a beautiful city. Vishwakarma notified Krishna that the city could be built only if Samudra Deva, the god of the oceans and the seas, gave some land. Krishna ordered Samudra, and eventually Samudra gave Krishna 12 yojans. Vishwakarma then built a beautiful city for Krishna and the Yadavas. The city was called as Dwarka. He also built the flying chariots of the Devas. Most of the flying chariots of the Devas were built by Vishwakarma. So the Pushpaka Vimana, famous Pushpaka Vimana that was used by Ravana, and then Lord Ramachandra used to fly from Lanka to Ayodhya, was built by Vishwakarma. Kubera was really deformed. I don't know about this. Anyway, so he built a beautiful chariot. The chariot will obey any commands such as right, left, up, backwards, forwards. So today, the glorified minds of engineers and designers that are modern. There's one particular one that have designed electric cars with this automatic driving system. But it hasn't been very well designed because it still is putting people in all kinds of dangers, running to lights and things like that. The Tesla driving thing, automatic driving. So it's really not working very well. But here's a Puspa Vimana that you just have to think right, and then it turns right. Then you go up. So it automatically, you don't need to have a steering wheel. You just have to desire, and then it goes the particular way. So what a designer we're talking here, and of Vishwakarma. Bacha, Twastra creating a monster named Vitra to kill Indra after Indra killed the sons of Vishwarupa. You know that pastime. The Devas found it really difficult to defeat Vitrasura. They went to Vishnu Deva for help, and Vishnu advised to make a weapon out of the sage Dadichi's bone. Since Sage Dadichi agreed and sort of meditation, soon his soul left his body. Vishwakarma then created a weapon called Vajra out of the sage Dadichi's bones. Soon Indra killed Vitrasura with his new weapon, the Vajra. Yamapuri, so Vishwakarma created Yamapuri for Yamadev, his Yamadutas and other advisors, ministers. So the great city of Yamaraj. Shradavati, this is the city of Varuna. It was built by Vishwakarma in the ocean. Remember what Krishna also dived into the ocean to save the sons of the spiritual master, and got into a whole palace and the whole thing there. So that city of Varuna in the ocean was constructed by Vishwakarma. Shratavati, the city of Varuna, Vijaya bow, the bow by Vishwakarma and given to Indra. He also built the city of Bali Maharaj. That's also described in the scriptures. Um, he, let's see, I have it somewhere here. Yeah, until this is in the Bhagavatam, 8th canto. Until Bali Maharaj achieved the position of king of heaven, he should live on the planet Sutala, which was made by Vishwakarma according to my order. So this is Lord Vamanadev. Because it is especially protected by me. It is free from mental and bodily miseries, fatigue, dizziness, defeat, and other disturbances. Bali Maharaj, you may now go and live there peacefully. So Prabhupada explains in the purport. Vishwakarma is the engineer or architect of the for the palatial buildings in the heavenly planets. Therefore, since he was engaged to construct the residential quarters of Bali Maharaj, the buildings and palaces on the planet Sutala must at least equal those of the heavenly planets. So Sutala is a subterranean planet that is part of the hellish regions, you know. But this was is like a heavenly planet within, this subterranean planet. A further advantage of this place designed for Bali Maharaj was it will be not that was that he will not be disturbed by any outward calamity. Moreover, he will not be disturbed by mental or bodily miseries. They are all extraordinary features of the planet Sutala, where Bali Maharaj would be. Also, Vishwakarma constructed the city of the Pandavas, Indraprastha, by the order of Krishna. So it's a span from almost the very beginnings of uh, you know the beginnings of the universe, that Vishwakarma has been serving the demigods uh, and great personalities in the universe, including this earthly planet, with his skills. Now, from Vishwakarma, it is explained that the Vastu Shastra came. So the Vastu Shastra is the science of architecture in the Vedas, and is a part is one of the subject matters or the parts of the Atharva Veda. The Atharva Veda is very vast, and this sign of architecture and design is explained there. And the whole idea is that when you create a space, it's the usage of a space that is in full harmony with the universal laws, in perfect harmony. It's almost like you have the universe in itself is built within these vastu principles that is have to do much according to the presence of the planets, and also um, the 10 directions. All the things have to maintain a particular harmony. So the constructions of palaces, of houses, of spaces, gardens have to do with how the universe is also constructed. So it's a very uh, it's a very exact type of science. So here's some of the things that are into consideration. So when a building, and not only a building, then it can expand to neighborhoods, to cities, to countries. Everything, actually expands to where there's spaces to be used by people. Then this vastu science is applied. So how to use these spaces, and then how to be able to amalgamate this whole science, art, astronomy, astrology, and the the philosophy or the mystic doctrines of the Vedas. So all of this becomes amalgamated in in a particular knowledge and application to create spaces that are in perfect harmony with the universe. Why do we do that? Or why that's necessary? Well, the whole Vedic system is designed by Krishna to facilitate self realization. So it creates all these auspicious elements, all these it takes away um, obstacles or external obstacles, so one can actually um, um, progress in the path of devotional service. So modern cities, or at least cities that we can still visit, that are fully designed according to the Vastu Shastras, one that is specifically very wonderful, the whole city is designed like that, is the city of Jaipur. The city of Jaipur was built by Maharaj Jai Singh, powerful Kshatriya and great devotee, Vaishnava. And under the protection of Maharaj Jai Singh, many of the uh, deities of Vrindavan, of the six Goswamis, were saved from the attacks of Arun Sabek, the Mughal king that was very demoniac. So the city was built around the deity of Radha Govinda, the presiding deities, the deities of Srila Rupa Goswami. And the roads, the palaces, the houses, the gardens, everything is designed, the whole city, according to the Vastu Shastra. Maharaj Jai Singh um, engaged one powerful Brahmana acharya that was expert in the science to build the whole city. So it's one point that we're going in pilgrimage and we go and visit this city of Jaipur to take into consideration to see these how these elements work. And some of the temples, are that are built. For example, the temple in Mayapur, the temple of the Vedic planetary, is built according to the Vastu Shastra. Some devotees sometimes do that. I was just recently going through the biography of Jamuna Devi, and she built her ashram in British Columbia farm Saranagati, uh, according to the Vastu Shastra. And Vishaka Devi, she described that when you enter that place, is automatically, I mean, you feel, and anyone that went in there was a perfect feeling of harmony and peace. So it's very important and influential. So here's some of the things that are considered. When you build the home, so you have to take into consideration the material elements: fire, water, air, and earth. And then you also have to consider the planets and the influence of the planets. So all the things comes together. And then the way it's described, it is explained that the home have to be in accordance to something that is called the Vastu Purusha. So the Vastu Purusha, Purusha means controller. So there is an entity. It becomes an entity. There's there's an entity that is, it's almost when you invoke the presence, divine presence. So there is this Vastu Purusha that is invoked and that is, established in the home. So you create what is called the Vastu Purusha Mandala, and within that mandala, then you build a home. And the mandalas uses, so I read here, the uses of grids. So you divide, it's a square, and this square you see that there is the form of a man, a purusha, man, and with a head, with the whole form, arms and things like that, and it's within that square. So the head will be here, and then there's a form. It's almost like this, and so and then within that square, then you divide it into grids, and those grids have to be representing or in coordination with a particular direction, particular planets, and particular material elements. And within those, then you have a particular space that is the usage of that space in that grid is for a very particular uh, uh, purpose. So if you take the kitchen and you put it in the space where it's supposed to be the showers or the things like that, then it just doesn't work because something is have to the element of water, something have the element of fire. So then you create a disturbance, you know. So this is some of the say explains here about the Vashtu Purusha. The uses of grids on the plan have helped to frame our reality in certain spatial forms. This is some um, is this comes from something that is created by a scholar. Which resemble one of the more important principles of the Vastu Shastra known as the Vastu Purusha Mandala. It is a diagram of a square grids used for arrangement of spaces. Vastu Purush is a form of a man in a calculated side, which is characterized by the symbols of zodiac signs, constellation, and planets. As a rule, the shape of the Vastu Purusha is considered a square, which is in the fundamental form used, which is the fundamental form used in Indian architecture. Once the orientation of the site is established, Vastu Purush Mandala is used to prepare the floor plans. It is considered a model of the universe, providing the basis for architectural design. It is It is an expression of the plan of the universe which bridge people, buildings, and nature. And the concept extends to a village, town, a country, or indeed the whole earth and its manifestation. So it goes on like that. Then here's some of the connections that are there in terms of what elements of life influence the particular usage of the particular spaces. So when we talk about directions, the north direction, the deity that it is the controller of the north direction is Kubera. So that area affects wealth and prosperity. And the spaces that are to be in that area is a living room, the sitting office, and the entrance. If you have an entrance in the house in other places, like say south, then it can create all kinds of disturbances, you know, problems and obstacles. If you have it in the north side, then it creates wealth and prosperity. The northeast is presided by Ishwar. See, okay, and that affect religion and Trinity. So that space should be used for puja room, for the temple room, for a well, underground water, an underground water tank. So Ishwar actually is not Ishwar, it's Ishan, or water. The east is presided by Indra, and that affects progress and growth. So that should be the entrance of the house, guest room, veranda, and bathroom. The south is Agni, energy, so affects the energy, vigor, and strength. So that's where the kitchen, generator, power supply, all those things have to be there. The south is presided by Yamaraj, and that's affect death. So that area should be the backyard, kitchen garden. The southwest, Nairut presides, and that affects purity and cleanliness. So that's where the toilet, the septic tank, washing areas should be present, should be placed. The west is by Varuna, water, the overhead tank, study room. The northwest is Vayu, and that affects the air and the wind. So a bedroom should be placed in there. The above of the house is Brahma, and that's spiritual. Sorry, above. I don't know what. Okay. So spiritual knowledge is affected by the above, which is presided by Lord Brahma. So a courtyard, I don't understand how that works. But what would you say? The roof courtyard or something like that? Or maybe a center. You have a sometimes the temples and houses that build like that. That you have a center courtyard that is open. Usually you have a tulsi plant in there. Below Ananta, so resources, worldly and worldly pleasures. So the basement should be below. So in other words, these are things that it gets really, really um, um, elaborated and goes very, very deep into a whole science. But the whole idea is the usage of a space is very important consideration. And the science of Vastu also you find out in different cultures, like Feng Shui also explains about the things. Chinese Feng Shui, similar, comes from that. And the wonderful thing is that this Vastu Shastra comes from Vishwakarma himself, who is the original architecture. And so we have these descriptions of these amazing, beautiful palaces, gardens, and everything, this whole neighborhood that is constructed by Vishwakarma. And particularly, I'm a fan of architecture and design. So it's always very sort of inspiring just to read about. And even, when you go and visit temples, have that type of insight, and appreciate the Vedic sciences and Vedic arts that are so wonderfully put together like that. Any comments or questions? You may have to go and pick the microphone. You have something, Prem? Okay, what are you thinking? I did a search in in Banipedia of Vishwakarma in Prabhupada's books. And this is some quotes from Srila Prabhupada on Vishwakarma. Among blacksmiths, there is Vishwakarma Puja. One day they will wash all the instruments of blacksmith. Somehow or other, all clean. Anyway, so the craftsman's blacksmith, they perform, they usually do this thing called Vishwakarma Puja. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Srila Prabhupada, they worship the instruments? What is that called? Vishwakarma Puja, Srila Prabhupada said. Vishwakarma Puja, Tamal Krishna Maharaj said. Prabhupada. So the Brahmanas will regularly come, worship Vishwakarma or demigods. Vishwakarma is the engineer of the demigods. Some demigods also they will worship. Even the butcher will worship Goddess Kali. Then he will apply the knife to the throat of the animal. So, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, would the blacksmiths do the puja to Vishwakarma or the Brahmanas? Prabhupada, no, Brahmana will do. Similar, the spice merchant, they worship Ganeshwari. The gold merchant, they worship Lakshmi Narayan. So anyway, Prabhupada explains that this worship of demigods by different types of people, specifically Vishwakarma was blacksmith. They were worshiping. So that's one thing. Okay?
So you were describing that it's from Lord Narayan that the Vasus came, and Vishwakarma is the son of one of the Vasus, and particularly that empowerment that he has is one of creative design, you could say, both in terms of architecture and what you were describing, the furniture, instruments, etc. So it seems very befitting that it should be from Lord Narayan because it's a creative principle, and Lord Narayan is performing creation. So Vishwakarma seems very closely aligned with the purpose of Lord Narayan. That's what came to my mind when I was thinking about what you were relaying.
Yeah, we have to do. I guess Lord Brahma becomes an engineer of the universe as the first, and then all these different personalities start to appear and populate the Prajapatis to bring to populate the world, and from the Prajapatis, they come all these different personalities, demigods, and they all have relationship. For example, we hear that the son of uh, Vaishya Shatamanu was Kim Priyabrata. Kim Priyabrata. So remember that Priyabrata was in the Bhagavatam. It's explained. I think it's the fourth canto. He is living the life of a renunciant in some distant planet in a jungle, and then when it came the time of his father, the great Manu, to retire, then there was no king to replace him. So everybody came from Lord Brahma, Narada Muni, everybody came to try to persuade Priyabrata. So Priyabrata eventually became the, the king of the whole universe. And the daughter of Vishwakarma married Priyabrata, one of the daughters of Priyabrata. Then the son of Priyabrata, the son of also Vishwakarma became Nala, which was during Maharaj, during Lord Ramachandra. He remember that one of the orders was, all you demigods manifest yourself in the race of the Vanaras. So Vishwakarma uh, had a son that was in power, and he was the one who built the bridge for Lord Ramachandra to cross Nala. So, the influence of the work is spread throughout the whole thing, and all these connections. Great personality. It's quite something that one has access to all those great personalities in the scriptures. So this whole, it must be fascinating if you're an architecture to study the Vastu Shastra. I mean, completely blow your mind. But you see how the demoniac, envious, deviant mentality during the British occupation, they have access to a lot of these things, and they completely disregard the Vastu Shastra because they were saying that it was a primitive um, uh, primitive, and also how you say that is when you have these far out ideas. What is the expression that is used? That is that you believe in some crazy thing. You know, you have faith in I don't know, the wind god and this that, and if you don't do that, superstitious, superstitious. It's all archaic and superstitious. So it's all have all these biases and crazy things that it's just you have to be dismissed. They have no scientific basis, although they can see how refined the products of those things were. You know, in terms of incredible buildings, you know, and with all that. And during that period of time, all the Vedic uh, sciences were dismissed, which is quite something.
So that request was made of Lord Varuna, was it to receive the 12 yojanas of land to build Dwarka? So 16,108 palaces on 12 yojanas of land, it still appears like on a physical plane to be too small.
Can't remember what a Joyana. Uh, can't remember what's the but anyway, this is something. It's the technology. Also, Brindavan is like that. You know, it's like it's plain like it's a lotus flower that depending on what Krishna desire, he opens or closes. You know, so you can go from Govardhan to Vrindavan. You know, in no time, or you know, it's open and it takes whatever, almost like an hour driving. You know, to get there. All right. Grantarashimam Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Thank you.